I'm going to introduce our next reader. I met Clare Sabry when she was 9 years old, painfully shy, and forced by her parents to talk to the weird bookstore lady, who, to be clear, was me. I was desperate to get her to engage with me. She had amazing taste, she read fucking everything, and I just wanted to talk to her. And to my surprise, one day, like a switch had been flipped after months of one-sided chats. She did. About Pokemon. Which, like, fine. But after that, when she came into the bookstore, I knew I'd be treated to a new and fascinating chat about why she liked one book or didn't like another. I looked forward to her visits. It made my stupid retail job feel super important. And it wasn't until a year or so later, when she was around 10, that I started tutoring her in creative writing. And by then, I'd realized she wasn't just a smart kid who read a ton of books. Because even when she was 10 fucking years old, it was clear. She had talent. And more importantly than that, she had a perspective that was, like, super particularly her own. She's never suffered adults telling her who she is, or what she should think, or what her goals should be. Witnessing her hone her talent, her perspective, and her voice, and watching her become an adult has been one of the great joys of my life. I have been telling her, since she was 12, that she better fucking name me in the acknowledgments of her books, and that if she thinks I am too classy not to cling to her coattails like a bit of sticky-ass space dust as she rockets into literary fame, she is wrong. Please welcome Clare Sabry.
I really don't know how I'm supposed to follow something like that because, well, since I was about 10 years old, Maggie has been probably the biggest inspiration and, I don't know, harasser of my writing, and I appreciate so much her advice and her harassing and her faith in me, and that has meant everything to me, and I definitely won't forget to acknowledge you because I do every time I can. This piece is mostly about hating religion, and I wrote it a while ago where that was a bigger part of my life. And it's from 3 different characters' perspectives. There's Allie, a little girl, there's her father Brian, and her mother Lydia. And I will be reading from each of them a couple of times. And this is called Desert Stones. Allie. I peered through the screen door of our trailer. They were hunting again. It was the little girl, Madeline, Father William, and the hunters, men and women who had the God sight. They could see a witch. Madeline had a special kind of God sight. She was a short girl with golden hair and a clean dress. She was only my age, 8 years, but she had spotted 5 witches around the village, and here she was, standing here in our corner of Holy Valley, population 47. The village used to move around, but most of the cars were broken now, rusty lumps in the sand, just like everything else. My hands clutched the family picture, Mama, Da, and me as a baby, staring at a Polaroid camera. Da had said it was good luck. Please don't come for Mama. Please don't come here. Da stood beside me, but said nothing. He squinted against the desert sun, towards the foothills. He did that sometimes, when he was unhappy, like he wanted to leave. Mama wanted to leave, but we couldn't. There was nowhere to go. Madeline had stopped. She shuddered and started mumbling. She felt a witch. Father William clutched at his cross, holding it in front of him like a sword. Mama made that cross. She said she carved a curse right into it because she hated Father William. Da told her to be quiet. Madeline put the blindfold on. Then she started to spin, holding her hand out in front of her. My heart went thump, 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 and she spun and spun and spun. Then she stopped, stumbling a bit before pointing right at our trailer. There was a crash. I had dropped the picture. I picked it up with shaking hands. A crack had run straight through the middle. I ran to get Mama. I ran past the gallon bottles just filled from the spring, past the kitchen with a rusty pot under the sink, past the small bathroom with a toilet and shower head and nothing else. I pushed through the hanging curtain to the bedroom. Mama lay face down on the mattress, her dark hair fanned out across the pillow. She was tense in her sleep, clutching the scratchy sheets with both hands. I shook her and yelled, "Mama, Mama!" She opened her eyes and sat up. Her long, thin face was still blurred from sleep. I didn't have to say what happened. She already knew. She put her head in her hands and sighed. "Let's get ready then," she said. The hot water was on. Dad drew a bath for me in the tub and left to wash with Mama. I watched the dirt float on the metal rim. My bony arms and legs were pressed against the side. I rubbed my scalp with a bar of soap and rinsed my body. My hair was a color like dirt. But Mama said I was beautiful. She said that she loved me more than she could ever love God. Our holy pastor, Father William, said it was a sin to love anything more than God. From Brian. The bathroom tiles were wet and muddy. I rubbed Lydia's back with a damp cloth, wiping away the grime that cloaked her skin. Then she took the cloth and did the same to me. It was a bathing custom for newlyweds, but we had never really stopped loving each other. I ran my fingers through her hair, feeling its soft weight for the last time, and watched it fall in curtains around her neck. We washed slower than usual. There was an unspoken weight that pressed down on us. We dried and helped each other dress. I tied her long black dress behind her and handed her the coat. It was thick and dark, buttoning up the front, reaching all the way down to her ankles, despite her being as tall as I was. I painted her lips and kissed them lightly as she fixed her hat in place. It was a simple black one with black feathers. "Don't mourn for me. I know it's better for you this way," she said evenly, not looking at me. I put my arms around her, and she laid her head on my shoulder. We stood there, pain prickling my chest, but there was also guilt. Witches in the Holy Valley weren't burned, they were stoned to death by the entire village. Would I feel safer with her gone? Yes, but I did not want to lose her, to kill her. She took a shuddering breath and pushed away from my embrace. The fear on her face was shuttered, replaced with a proud look, her raised eyebrows and faint grin challenging anyone to oppose her. Allie walked slowly from the bedroom in a simple brown dress, and we stepped out of the trailer. Lydia didn't glance back. The villagers stared silently at us, dirty faces filled with contempt, all dressed in their Sunday best. She held out her hand, I took it, Allie took the other, and we walked to the procession. Father William led it, with 4 other pastors behind, then us, hand in hand, then the other families. A marching band made of a few young men beat on drums. Everyone, from the oldest grandfather to the youngest child, chanted prayers. Their voices rose like a cacophony of angry crows in the desert. From Allie. As we walked, I thought, the fathers had said no one could ever love my mother. Did I love Mama? Sometimes she scared me. She threw things. She cried. She defied God. Father William said that anyone who said or thought anything hateful about God or his followers was a sinner. She cursed God with everything she did, with the clothes she wore, with the paint on her face, with her words and her songs, but she could tell you such a beautiful story that would leave you sitting for hours, still ensnared in her voice, or sing a song to make you laugh or cry, or to fall asleep even if you were wide awake. Sometimes even Dad was afraid, but he loved her no matter what. So did I. She sang to me as she walked. It was a sinful song, but a lullaby that she sang to me when I was sick or scared. Maybe I was a bit like Mama, because I loved the beauty in sinful things. Pray into the splinters, pray into your fear, pray your life was just a dream, the cut that never heals. From Brian. We were the youngest family in Holy Valley. Lydia and I ran away together when we were 18. She was a wild child. My dad told her to stay away from her, so of course I was utterly infatuated. She was so free, running into the night and telling me how she was going to find a way out of Holy Valley. It seemed so romantic at the time, but eventually we came back. There was nowhere to go. I was not so sure now if she loved me. She was so cold, so filled with dark. I was not sure if she could love at all, but sometimes I could see it. Like when she'd tell a bedtime story to Allie, or hold me when she was scared or angry or sad. Lydia was a carver. She had magic in her knives. She carved crosses for the village. She carved the Virgin Mary, Jesus, a manger, even animals that she found in old books or in the desert, and other darker things. She carved a raven when she was 14, with red eyes. Her parents tried to burn it, but it was made of strong wood and wouldn't light, so it sat, wooden feathers charred black, staring down anyone who entered our home. Allie's first toy was a wooden ladybug. It was exquisitely detailed down to the last dot on its back. Allie loved it. We called her our ladybird. She called her Da a hawk and her Ma a raven. Allie was our light. She kept us from drifting away. Before Allie, our love was killing each other. We loved each other, but we couldn't trust each other. I still feared God, in the way that Lydia disgraced him. I burned her curses, and she screamed at me. We'd fight, but soon we'd forget what we were fighting about. From Lydia. I kept my head high, above the priests, above everyone. It was my last act of refusal, and I took pleasure in the fear printed on the villagers' faces. A few children were already gathering stones. I wondered how they would feel. The plain was desolate. The desert, white with heat, drifted on until there was nothing but sand and sky. Once we passed a scrubby vegetable field, all signs of life disappeared. The first color I remember was white. The white heat of day, the white cold of night, the white of sand, the white of trailers, the white of the wood I carved. I hated white, but I hated dread more. All of the priests of Holy Valley were feared and worshipped, Father William above the rest. They showed us the way to heaven. We were God's chosen, to live without sin. Of course, I was always a sinner to them, always the villain. But Father Allen, he loved me all the same, like my father never had, and for that he died. I must have been 8 or 9. They brought Father Allen to the center of town, near the fire pit, and called us forward. Father Allen was kind. He had given me treasures, sea glass, smooth wood, and a beautiful raven feather. They took a cane to his back, each priest saying a prayer for his soul before they beat the life out of him. The ground was stained with red that day. It seemed to be stained forever on. Soon my blood would paint the ground too. I was thankful that it would end this way. At least they couldn't touch my family. Brian and Allie were the only ones who mattered anymore. The rest of the world could burn in hell for all I cared. The sand swallowed my boots. The sun melted my vision until I walked sightlessly on and on. I did not weep. I did not struggle. I only walked. Allie had held my hand cautiously. I knew she was afraid of me. Everyone was. Brian was. Father Allen, I was sure, would have been if he were still alive. It reminded me of an old friend and the song that she used to sing, an old lullaby of sorts. She was dead now. The song was the last thing she had ever given me. The child you love is the monster you fear. Now I was the monster, and I sang it loud and clear in the dry desert air. I let my eyes stray into the distance and hoped uselessly for a great big chasm to come and swallow everyone up. I saw the graves, wooden crosses above lumps of dirt. They made a grim spectacle. A few children mingled among them. One was Madeline, the little girl who saw witches. She glared at me, eyes narrowed against the sun, showing nothing but contempt. It was a look that all the villagers wore, save for my Brian and Allie. I did not see their expressions. I did not want to. Then I saw the clearing. It was in the ruins of an old building, plenty of rocks. I could see the blood on the ground, absorbed into the sand, to turn it a horrible red. Father William muttered prayers, spit flying from his lips as the village crowded around me, but I didn't bother to listen. I kissed Allie on the head and embraced Brian one last time, before I stepped into the ring. A breath of wind swept through. I closed my eyes and felt it rush past. I could still hear the song in my head, crackling from an old tape that was long gone. Dots of pain began to appear in the inside of my eyelids. Blood ran down my arms. I saw Allie and Brian in front of me. I reached out to them. From Allie. She held me against her for one long moment, and then she let go, pushing something into my hand and walking to the center of the circle. My heart pounded. Right then, I felt fear. Real fear. My mama was gonna die, there in front of me. I opened my hand. Inside was a jagged rock, still lying hot from the sand.